What's
What
up,
it
OG,
do?
triple OG?
It's your
OG,
man,
triple,
y'all already
triple.
know what it is. I got some
OG.
Corey on deck, and this subject right here I hold dear to my heart. So, without further ado, let's get to the video.
So this is on purpose.
Yeah, for sure. For
I
sure.
get it.
I mean, look at the laws, man. Remember when they introduced crack? They had I forget what the name of the laws were, but they had those crack laws where you got more for like 5 or 6 ounces of hard rock cocaine or hard rock crack than you did for getting caught with a whole kilo of powder cocaine.
He ain't lying.
So it's like all the laws are variations of things that you have to do to survive. Like being poor is criminalized.
And you know this, man.
So, and whatever you have to do to survive outside the system, they're gonna scrape you.
Yeah.
They're gonna scrape you. So,
It's made for you to have to do that. And when we catch you, you help fill the jails because we set it up.
One of the greatest examples of racism and differential treatment of black people in this country in modern times can be seen in the contrast between the way in which the federal government and state and local government dealt with the crack epidemic as compared to the opioid crisis. Crack addicts were not treated as a mentally ill population. The crack epidemic was not treated as a public health crisis. The crack epidemic was treated as a crisis in criminality and a need for greater criminal justice oversight of the black community. More police, more arrests, more prisons, very little attention to treatment and rehabilitation. The crack crisis swelled up the prisons, not because black people were selling dope. It was more so because black people were using the dope. There's way more users than there are sellers. And because if you got caught in possession, the police arrested you based on possession. So you would go to jail based on the intent to use to self-medicate when you should have been going to a mental health hospital or a treatment center. That is what exploded the prisons during the crack epidemic because they were incarcerating mentally ill addicts.
Where there's no other way you can get it.
no,
Right.
How else you gonna get it?
man, it's only a couple ways.
If you're not plugged in with the people who are in charge of everything, you jammed up. See, let me tell you something. The president of the United States has over 20 women saying that he sexually assaulted them.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Do you want to let that sink in? And I'm not dissing him. I'm not saying, oh, that's fucked up. Because we ain't got to say what's fucked up. But what I'm saying is, you're going to tell me about doing right. And the man who is the president of the United States
Yeah.
got over 20 women saying he's sexually
Basically
assaulted them.
Yeah.
What the fuck can you tell me about this fucking society? Shut the fuck up.
And encouraging others to do it. Remember when he did that? He, you know, you can get away with it. You can grab him by the and do it. He was actually encouraging other
Grab
people.
him by the
"Come on,
pussy."
do
Well,
it.
I think that he has a sense of humor, but it's truth to it.
Right.
His sense of humor, because if you did it, you wouldn't. But
If I grab somebody by the pussy, they gonna rob me.
You're goddamn right.
Yeah.
They gonna literally turn me upside down, throw him in there for a little while, and by the time he get out, he ain't gonna be shit no more.
There's this, I forget the king's name, but the story of Dracula is based on this king, right? And one of the things that he did, which I believe is a true story, is he threw a party at the palace and he invited all of the naysayers and dysfunctional type of motherfuckers that he knew of that was around him. He filled the palace up, had all the best foods, just anything during that time period that was fly, he had at this party. And when everybody got into that party, it was a couple thousand people there. He had the guards lock the doors, and he killed everybody in that motherfucker. That's the only way.
Wow.
That's the only way.
But do you see, I'm not laughing like that's funny. Let me tell you something, man. They are doing something where they're trying to...
Vlad the Impaler, that's his name, yeah.
Vlad the Impaler. Right now, there are forms of population control going on that's going to go over the head of the average folk.
All right, this is a subject that needs to be talked about. We don't talk about this subject enough. I know I mentioned some of these talking points in a few of my videos that I've done. But when you talk about crack, I want to say that that's a weapon that was directed toward the black community. If we just do our research and look up, the CIA putting crack in the black communities, then you will understand more about what's going on and why I consider this being a weapon toward us so-called black people. The CIA, the FBI, even local police, they all had their hands in it. It was a trap for young black men with no fathers, probably with no mothers, but a lot of black men got caught up in the crack law, the minimum mandatory, meaning that if you get caught with a certain amount of crack, it's 100 times as if you got 1 kilo of powder cocaine. 100 times that. So if you got 1 kilogram of crack, they're gonna charge you with 100 kilograms of crack. It's the 1 to 100 ratio. Now, I got caught up in that back in 95. I done 5 years federal prison, which it shouldn't have been a federal case. But it became federal because I guess I was out of town or whatever. I never did get caught with any drugs. Got caught talking about some drugs over the phone or whatever. But it's a lot of people that need to be locked up for this stuff. The CIA agents, the FBI agents, all that stuff. Because for them to catch, certain people or whatever, they had informants and other, people selling drugs to get these people.
Knowing this whole time, I'm a cop pretending to be a drug dealer. I ain't nothing but a drug dealer pretending to be a cop.
At the end of the day, it's about money. The prison system. That's a big money thing as far as them needing prisoners to make all this money off these prisoners. And they making a lot of money off these prisoners. So they making money on top of money. And then as far as you having a job in the prison, you're making pennies. I think I was making like 12 cents an hour. Whatever the job that I had. If I was working in the child hall, if I was working on a unit, if I was working in rec or whatever, we making pennies. If you're not out here on these streets, ain't nobody thinking about you in that prison. And I'm telling you, that was a lonely 5 years that I did. I was married. My wife at that time, she had a baby on me. My whole life was up. You know what I'm saying? And I know it was a whole lot of other people whose lives got up because they fell into that trap. They fell into that snare. Just like Corey and Craig said, we really ain't had no choice but to do it. You know what I'm saying? As far as us not having that guidance, us not having that father in our life saying, no, son, that's not right. Don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Because just imagine all the lives that we fucked up. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm talking about the drug dealers or whatnot. That's why I don't like to praise this shit. A lot of people like to praise, I sold crack, I was getting money and all that shit. But do you know how many lives you fucked up?
Oil. Am I to conclude that you're finished with it?
No, don't conclude that. I probably now, on the average, spend $100 a day.
It's about 2 o'clock now. Have you had any today?
Not yet. Not yet. But you can believe when I leave here, it's probably my next stop.
Now, you're a well-educated man. You have some experience in engineering.
Yes.
You have earning power, obviously.
Right.
Why would you be fooling with this stuff? You can stand by and see what's happening to your own life, can't you?
I used to say the same thing. I used to witness people, and even people who were close to me, have their lives destroyed by it. And I used to witness people sit in these places and spend their last penny. And I say to them, how could you do such a thing, But once you have tried it, you become the anchor banker, you understand. It's that much of a feeling or a sensation that it has wrecked lives, careers, broken up homes. it's just something you can't really describe.
What kind of shape is your life in now?
Do you know how many people that died off that shit?
The 80s in city Detroit was murder capital of the world. We held that position, not to glorify that bullshit, but it was a rough time. It was rough, man. In the 80s, it was rough, man. A lot of my friends got shot up and killed and shit because that crack epidemic came through there. So that's when the violence.
So let's back us up. When do you remember that whole crack epidemic? So by the time you get on the police force in the 94,
94, I got on 84.
Had that the crack epidemic had hit heavy in the mid 80s.
Oh, yeah,
Definitely the early 90s.
It wiped out 3 generations, man. Wiped 3 generations out. When that crack hit.
Do you know how a lot of people lost everything? Think about it, man. You know what I'm saying? And I look at these people, you know, I'm a lot older now. Once I got out of prison, I never glorified that shit. You know, and I look at people who glorified now and like, look at them as scumbags. You're a fucking scumbag. You know what I'm saying? You helping them destroy your people by distributing that shit in your community and thinking, oh, I'm getting money. This is the only way I can get money. No, it's a lot of ways that we can get money. I don't know how the drug scenery is today, but you still got guys out there doing it. I think they doing the pills and all that, selling the pills and making a lot of money off the pills. But again, who is you selling this stuff to? You selling it to your own goddamn people.
You big dummy.
I feel ashamed that I had my hand in that stuff. I shame myself a lot because at the end of the day, I knew I was wrong. So you got to be a selfish ass, and I'm gonna say it, you got to be a selfish ass to be out there harming your community and destroying your community. You know, I can go on and on. I got a story to tell as far as what I've been through dealing with this type of stuff. How it's not fair for them to give us more time because it's actually the same drug. As far as with it being hard, you putting baking soda on it or whatnot, it's the same drug. Y'all tell me what y'all think about this whole thing with this crack law, you know, with the CIA having their hands in it and putting it in our community because again, we don't have airplanes and boats and all that stuff to bring this stuff in. And then, you know, it's been said that they the ones who organized all this stuff to come in like that, from the planes and the boats and all that shit. And why they not in jail? This is the type of country that we live in, right? Y'all tell me what y'all think about this whole ordeal. Our young brothers being given all this time and them being hypocrites about giving you all this time and it don't fit the crime. Y'all tell me what y'all think about that. It's your man, y'all already know what it is. Next video, this ghetto talk, up out of here. Peace.